Well, as if I don't have enough projects going already, I think I'm actually going to start another one. Yeah, I'm crazy like that. But I've wanted a bolt bin for quite some time, and to buy one the size that I want would be pretty darn expensive. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build one. And the reason we're looking at a stack of old boards is because I'm going to build it out of that if I can. Most of this is actually old redwood decking, so it looks pretty cool. But I should have enough here to build what I want. I'm hoping. But I think that's what I'm going to see if I can do today, is at least get ready and kind of get started on it. I mean, these boards really aren't good for deck boards anymore, but I bet you I could use them to build a little bolt bin. And these redwood boards, they look pretty cool when you get all that black crap off of them. You got all the kind of little knots and nail holes, and I don't know, it just kind of looks neat. But I hand planed this one off just to see what it would look like, and I'm kind of liking it. I'm not going to hand plane all of it, obviously, that would take forever, but I may actually see if I can use a thickness planer on these things, see if I can get one, get my hands on one, and clean them boards up a little bit. I think that would look cool. But before I do any of that, I think I'm going to go dig through that pile and see exactly how much of this wood I have, and see if I have enough to build the size bolt bin I want. Alright, I've gone through the pile and I picked up most of the good redwood boards, or good-ish, I guess. And I added it up and I got about 286 feet, I guess. And hopefully that'll be enough. It's more than I should need, but there's going to be waste, and some of these boards are kind of crappy, kind of rotted away, but I think we'll make do. And I think I'm going to go ahead and plane them. I think that's the plan. I'm going to take about, I think I'm going to take a quarter total off, an eighth on each side, to bring them just shy of 1.5 inches. And that should get rid of some of the rot and the crap that's on them. Now I just got to get my hands on a thickness planer. Well, I bought a planer. I didn't have to buy a planer. I'm sure I could have borrowed one, but I bought a planer anyway. I figure any excuse to buy a tool is a good excuse. So I got the planer, and as you can see by all the sawdust wood chips stuff there, I've been trying it out on a couple of these shorter boards, just kind of get the hang of it and see how it works, and it's working pretty good. They look pretty nice. I've gone all the way down to 1.5 inches. They were slightly larger than that, taking them down about 1/16 at a time, and they're turning out all right. Kind of blows me away. Every one of those lines is a ring, or is a year, and there must be 200 of them there in that one section of board. Kind of crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and get some longer boards here. I think I'm going to cut down the longer chunks that I have into 8-foot sections, because that should be the longest length I need out of these boards. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting them up and planing them down. Well, the planer's been working pretty well. I've done a few boards here, and I've made them go from this to that, so I think they've turned out pretty nice. Still got the weathered nail holes and everything. But this wood that I had stacked outside is still a little bit wet, so I think I'm going to bring the rest of it in the shop here and see if I can get it to dry out for a while, so it planes a little bit better. And then yeah, we'll get the rest of these boards planed up. I've got only a handful done, but with this wet wood I kind of want to get it to dry out, and then once I get it all planed down, I'll have to clean up the edges here. I don't want to run them through the planer standing up like this, so I'll probably just take a sander to that edge, and yeah, we'll have some pretty nice wood out of it, I think. Well, as you can see, I'm cutting off the rotted ends of the boards. and then cutting them to 8-foot lengths, and then running them through the planer here a couple of times just to get rid of the majority of the paint. And I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. One, the boards are a little bit wet, so I'm hoping if I get the paint off they'll dry a little bit faster. And two, the paint and the stuff growing on the outside of these things and the dirt and grime and whatever, it dulls up the planer blades pretty quick. I mean, I've run, well, quite a few boards, I guess, and then those little ones over there, and they're already pretty dull in the machine. So I think what I'm going to do is just take the paint off all these, cut them to length, and then when I'm ready to do the final planing, I'll flip the blades over inside the planer and then take them down to 1.5 inches like these ones are. I did these 3 to thickness, and then by then the blade was getting pretty dull, and you could tell by the way it was feeding. So I'm just taking the paint off these last boards, and then we'll flip the blades, and hopefully it'll work. And a lot of these boards have like hammer marks and all sorts of crap, which isn't too big of a deal. Like a board like this, the other side is pretty good still. So what I can do is make this, put this in the back and put this side down so you'll never see it. So I suppose I got a lot of work ahead of me, and I got more boards out back yet, so time to get to work. Well, as you can see, I'm making a mess, but I'm also making progress. I've got all my wood cut to length. I'm probably about 4 boards shorter than I thought I would be, because some of the longer ones that I thought I would get 2 out of were just shy of 8 feet. So not quite as many as I want, but that's okay. We'll be able to just make the thing a little bit shorter. But right now I'm planing off all the paint off the edges of these things, and I'm doing that by throwing them in between these 2 big beams, clamping them together, and then just taking a hand plane and running across there and getting all this paint and the growing green crap off of here, and then letting it dry out, because the wood is still pretty wet. It's been raining. It got rained on, and then now it's raining outside right now, so it doesn't want to dry real well. So if I can get the paint off, it'll help it dry, I think. So I'll keep going. Only a few boards left. Yeah, you can see how wet this wood is in certain areas. But once you get the paint off, it dries a lot better. Some of these boards looked just about exactly like that one, and they're starting to dry out and lighten up. So hopefully I get the paint off and they'll dry nice and fast. Well, a few more to go. Well, I got all of my long boards, the 8-footers, planed down to 1.5 inches from about 1 3/4 inches. And that took away most of the rot and the paint, and it looked pretty good. Actually burned through a set of blades trying to get the paint off of about half of the boards. So what I ended up doing was just taking the hand planer, planing off all the old paint, and then I ran it to thickness with the mechanical planer there, and that worked pretty well. As you can see, I have quite the pile of shavings there. But I got them all down to size here, the long ones, and I've actually started on a couple of them, putting some Danish oil on them, and it really brought out the color. I think they look nice. I decided not to sand them after they came through the planer, because they have kind of a shimmer to them. It's hard to explain, but when you sand that down, that goes away, and I think this really looks nice with that kind of shine to them, the shimmer. So I left it alone, didn't sand them. They're a little rough because every one of these lines that comes through here, all the dirt and the grit and everything, kind of eats up the planer blades, but that's okay. It'll work. So now I've got to take all these boards and get some Danish oil on them. That'll probably take a while. And then after I'm done with that, I got to go back to the planer and finish up all these little boards down to thickness. Well, alright, we're back to this project. It's been a little while, but I've got all the wood stained or coated with Danish oil. And I've got some of the 8-footers cut to exactly 8 feet, and I've got 4 of these 1-foot chunks that'll be the parts of the shelf there that go up and down. And now I'm just lining it all up here. I've got a 30-inch board cut here, so I have exactly 30 inches, and I'll have 30 inches between each one of those. And then these are 1.5 inches, and I'm going to have 4 of them. So that'll give me 96 inches all the way across the shelf, so hopefully this will work. But I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill before I screw this in, because I don't want to split the wood. If I ruin it, I can't just go down to the hardware or the lumber yard and pick up more. So I'm going to try to be careful and pre-drill it, and I'll put one in each of these and then flip it over, attach the bottom pieces, and hopefully it'll work. Well, alright, there we go. We're pretty close to what I wanted here. We're a little bit long on that far side, but I think that'll be alright. So now let's go ahead and flip this thing over, and we can get the 2 boards on the back side. Well, alright, now I kind of got it screwed together a little bit. This will actually be the bottom. It's upside down right now, so I've taken the kind of the worst sides, more beat up sides, and put them on the bottom, and the nicer sides are up here. Got it screwed together, sort of. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's square, and then once I know it's square, I'll go ahead and put another screw in each side of these all the way down, and then flip it over and put another screw in here. I tried to make the front match up real nice, and I was less cautious with the back side because it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing screwed together, and then maybe we'll set it into place, see how it looks. Alright, I've got the second tier to my shelf built, and I've added some little legs on the bottom there just to kind of support it up off the ground a little bit. But now you can kind of see how I'm putting it together. I built the bottom shelf, and then I built this next tier sort of like a stair, almost like steps. So I'll just keep doing that and stack them up on top of each other. And once I get all 11 tiers up, then I can come along the side here, and I've got some 3/4 inch redwood left. Hopefully I have enough. And I'll run them down the sides, and then on the back I'll take some plywood, stain it a nice dark color, and tack along the whole back edge. So I'll just keep making these little stairs and getting my shelf just a little bit higher. Well, I made quite a few of the pieces to this shelf system here, and after I made about 3 of them, I did the first 3 freehand and just kind of lined everything up, and that took a while and it was kind of tricky, so I decided to build a little jig here out of some scrap pieces, and it makes the process go a whole lot faster. I just throw in the short pieces here and butt them up to the 2x4s, and then I throw a board on top, drill it, screw it down, and then I flip it over, do the same thing, and it really helps to knock those things out. So I'm a little over halfway done now, so it shouldn't be long before I get all of the pieces on there, and then I can start working on the sides. Well, I've got it all set up here and screwed together. I ended up putting the end caps on here and using actually the 2x6 boards rather than the 3/4 board I had outside, because I ended up with enough 2x6s to actually finish this, and they were already planed down and coated with Danish oil, so they were ready to go. I figured it would just be quicker to use these, and also they're a little bit thicker, so I should get a little more rigidity out of them. And I was using these ratchet straps to kind of hold everything together while I level everything up and squared everything up. So they can come off now, I suppose. They did a little indent on the top a little bit, and probably the bottom too, but that's no big deal. So now I've got to go ahead and take some Danish oil to these things and finish those off, and then I'm going to pull it out back from the wall a little bit and put a piece of plywood back there, and this thing should be pretty well done. I'm going to have to cut a piece of plywood for the bottom there to kind of shim it up, because my floor actually slants down this way. There's actually a drain under that box so it all kind of slants that way. But I'll get her level and get her finished up here. Well, I've got the shelves done here. I went ahead and got the plywood on the back, and I used a cherry stain that I had laying around to stain it. I think it matches pretty well. I also went ahead and shimmed up the bottom there because my concrete kind of slopes. So everything's nice and level and seems pretty darn sturdy. Now all I have to do is build the bins for it, which I won't do in this video. But they'll be just shy of 3 inches wide. They're going to be kind of small bins, and then they'll be a foot long. And I'll be able to put 10 of them per little cubby here. So I'm going to have to make like 330 bins here to fill this up. And I'm making them kind of small because I have a lot of different types of hardware, nuts, bolts, nails, what have you. But I don't have a large volume of each, so I think a lot of small bins will work. And yeah, I might make a video doing that. I'm not really sure, but it'll get done. But this part's done anyway, and I think it turned out pretty nice, considering I built it out of some old ratty deck boards that were probably going to get thrown away or burned if I hadn't brought them home. So I'm pretty happy with it, and it's pretty unique. Not too many people can say they've got bolt bins made out of old growth redwood.